Hello, welcome to the Cheater's Diary, where we share raw, real-life stories filled with emotion and unexpected twists. If you enjoy this video, please hit the like button and subscribe to join us in spreading meaningful stories. Let's dive into today's journey. I'm Ethan, 28, born and raised in a small town in Missouri. I work at an appliance repair shop. It's not a glamorous job, but I'm good at fixing broken things. Folks around here know if their washing machine stops spinning or their heater quits in the dead of winter. Ethan's the guy to call. I rent a modest one-story house on a quiet street. Nothing fancy, but neighbors still wave from their porches, like time hasn't touched that habit. 2 houses down lives Sarah, 31, a nurse at the local clinic, divorced, no kids. We've known each other for about 2 years. It started with small talk over the fence, chatting while taking out the trash or watering the lawn. Sarah has a habit of leaving cookies for neighbors, but for me, she'd slip in a note with a playful joke. Little things like, "Watch out, these cookies might be addictive," always made me chuckle. Over time, those quick hellos turned into longer conversations. Sometimes we'd just stand there, watching the sunset fade over the street, and it felt easy. It all started one Saturday morning. I just finished a morning shift at the shop when my phone buzzed. It was Sarah. Her water heater was acting up. She said she'd tried fixing it herself with a YouTube tutorial and even wrestled with a wrench, but gave up before turning her laundry room into a swimming pool. I laughed, told her I'd swing by after work. No big deal, I thought, just a water heater. When I got there, Sarah opened the door, hair tied up, wearing an old t-shirt. She looked a little frustrated, but flashed that save me smile. I checked the heater, just a pilot light issue, nothing major. Took me about 20 minutes, and hot water was flowing again. Sarah thanked me profusely and offered me a cup of coffee. We ended up on her back porch, a small space with a slightly crooked step and wind chimes that never stopped tinkling. The afternoon was warm, peaceful. Neither of us had plans, so we just sat there talking about everything and nothing. We talked about her job at the clinic, about a patient who tried flirting with her despite a leg cast. She told me about her dog waking up at 3 a.m., convinced the fridge was making weird noises. I laughed hard. She laughed too. It was effortless, like we'd known each other forever. Then there was this moment, sunlight filtering through the trees, catching her brown hair. I don't know why, but I blurted out, joking, "You should get married," a throwaway line to fill the silence. But Sarah didn't laugh. She looked down at her coffee, then up at me, eyes serious. "I would," she said, voice low but steady, "if you asked." I froze. My heart pounded like it was trying to break free. I was still holding my coffee, but I didn't know what to do with it. Sarah looked at me for another second, then stood. "I've got laundry to fold," she said, like nothing had happened. Then she walked inside. I sat there alone, wind chimes louder than ever. My coffee had gone cold, but I drank it anyway, just to do something. Then I stood, nodded to myself like an idiot, and left. Walking home, my head was spinning with her words. "I would, if you asked." Her voice, her eyes, it didn't feel like a joke. It felt like a door opening, but I didn't know whether to step through or walk away. I got home, tossed my keys on the table, and sank onto the couch. The house was quiet, just the tick of the wall clock. I tried to figure out what I'd done wrong, or why she'd said that. The more I thought, the more tangled I got. All that day, I couldn't focus. I turned on the TV but didn't watch. I pulled out my phone to text Sarah something like, "Hey, what did you mean?" But I deleted it. I didn't know what to say. I was scared she'd laugh and say it was a joke. Or worse, she'd be serious, and I'd have to face it. I wasn't ready. Not yet. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. Her words played on repeat, like a song stuck in my head. I thought about our conversations, the little moments, like when she brought me soup when I was sick, or when she cracked up because I spilled coffee on my shirt. I'd always thought those were just neighborly things, right? But now, I wasn't sure. Had I missed something? Was she seeing something I hadn't? Sunday, I tried to push it out of my mind. I drove to the shop even though it was my day off. I messed around with tools, wiping down wrenches just to keep my hands busy, but it didn't help. Every time I picked up a screwdriver, her words came back. "If you asked." I told myself she was probably joking. Maybe I was overthinking it, but deep down, I knew better. Her eyes were not in her yard, not by the fence, nowhere. Usually, I'd notice if her porch light was on, just a habit. But this time, I made myself not look. I didn't want to face her. Not yet. I was afraid I'd say something stupid, or worse, say nothing. So I went through the motions. Work, home, dinner alone. But every night, when I turned off the light, her words came back. They wouldn't let me be. Tuesday, I started wondering if I should do something. Should I knock on her door, bring over a coffee, act like nothing happened, or let it fade like a joke no one mentions again? I didn't know. All I knew was that thinking about Sarah made my heart beat a little faster. Not some sappy movie romance, just a feeling like I was standing in front of something big and didn't know what to do with it. Tuesday afternoon, I was in my kitchen, staring out of the window. Sarah's house was there, curtains drawn. I picked up my phone, scrolled to her name. I wanted to text, call, do something, but I didn't. I put the phone down, grabbed a beer from the fridge, and sat on my porch, watching the sky darken. Her wind chimes tinkled in the distance. I took a sip and told myself, tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow I'll say something, but I knew tomorrow would feel the same. By Wednesday, her words were still stuck in my head. I would, if you asked. Like a pebble in my shoe. Not painful, but always there. I kept myself busy. That morning, I fixed a fridge for an elderly couple on the outskirts of town. Afternoon, I tinkered with a busted heater at Mr. Jenkins' place. I took every job, no matter how small, just to avoid my thoughts. But every time I paused, even to wipe sweat off my brow, her words were there. I didn't text Sarah, didn't walk by her house. I even avoided looking at her window from my kitchen. I told myself to let it settle. Maybe she'd forgotten. Maybe it was just a moment. But I knew better. Her eyes, her steady voice. It was too real. It was an invitation. And I was running from it. Thursday, I was at the shop, wiping grease off my hands. The door chime jingled. I looked up and my heart skipped. It was Sarah. She was in her nurse scrubs, light blue, hair tied up, looking tired but with a small smile. "Hey," she said, waving. "Hey," I croaked back, my voice dry. I stayed behind the counter, frozen. She didn't come closer. "I need a power strip," she said. The one in my kitchen died. Took out my toaster and coffee maker. I grabbed one from the shelf behind me. $10, I said. She handed me a 20. I fumbled for change, but she shook her head. "Keep it." Silence. A weird, heavy silence, like we both knew something was hanging between us. Then she spoke, voice soft but steady. "I didn't mean to put you on the spot the other day. On the porch. I wasn't joking, but I don't expect you to do anything. I just said it." I looked at her. Her eyes were direct, unflinching. I wanted to say something, anything, but my throat felt stuck. "Yeah," I finally managed. "Okay." She looked at me, like she was waiting for more, but I didn't say anything else. She nodded, not angry, not sad, just like she'd said what she needed to. Then she turned toward the door. Right before leaving, she looked back. "You're allowed to want something, Ethan, even if it scares you." Then she was gone. I stood there, still holding the $10 she didn't take back. It felt like I'd just let something slip away. I looked out the window, saw her walk to her car, hair catching the wind. Her car pulled away, disappearing around the corner. I turned back to the counter, stuffed the bill in the drawer, but my mind was still on her porch with the wind chimes with her eyes. That night, I sat on my porch with a beer, watching the sky darken. I thought about what she said. "You're allowed to want something." I'd never thought I had permission for that. My life was simple. Fix things, pay rent, get by. But Sarah, she messed that up. Not in a bad way, but in a way that made me wonder if I was missing something bigger. I looked toward her house. Her porch light was on. I wanted to knock, to say something, even just, "Thanks for being honest." But I didn't. I took another sip, let the silence swallow me. I knew I had to do something, but I wasn't brave enough. Not yet. Friday, the sky was overcast, a chill sneaking through my jacket. I had the day off because a job got postponed. Normally, I'd be relieved, maybe grab breakfast at the diner or scroll through car repair videos. But today, I couldn't settle. My mind was on one place, Sarah's house. I stood in my kitchen looking out the window. Her curtains were still drawn. I didn't know if she was home, but I couldn't wait anymore. Her words, "You're allowed to want something," kept looping in my head. I didn't want to keep pretending it didn't matter. I threw on a gray hoodie, jeans, old boots, stuffed my hands in my pockets, but each step felt heavier. I stopped at her porch, staring at the pale green door. The wind chimes tinkled in the breeze. I stood there, maybe a full minute, wondering if I was being an idiot. But then I took a breath, stepped up, and knocked. Sarah opened the door after a few seconds. She was in sweatpants, hair loosely tied, no makeup. She looked like she'd just woken up, but her eyes were bright, unsurprised to see me. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," I said back. "Everything okay?" she asked, tilting her head. "Not really," I said. She raised an eyebrow, opened the door wider, and stepped aside. I walked in. Her house smelled like coffee and laundry soap. Warm, familiar. We didn't sit right away. I stood by the kitchen counter. She leaned against the wall across from me, arms crossed, waiting. I took a deep breath. "I keep thinking about what you said on the porch. I thought I was just the neighbor, the guy who fixes stuff, the one you joke with. But then I remembered, you brought me soup when I was sick. You listen when I ramble about broken machines. You laugh at my terrible jokes." I kept thinking, maybe I missed something. Sarah smiled, a small one, like she'd known this for a while. "You didn't miss it, Ethan," she said. "You just didn't believe it." That hit me like a quiet punch. I looked at the floor, then at her. "I don't have a ring," I said, voice shaky. "I'm not good at this stuff." She tilted her head, stepped closer. "Ethan, I don't need a ring. I don't need you to get down on one knee or make a big scene. I just need you to be real." I looked into her eyes. No pressure, just patience, like she'd been waiting for me all along. "I don't want to pretend anymore," I said. "I like you, really like you, and I'm scared, but I don't want that to stop me." She nodded, her smile growing. "Then don't pretend." We stood there in her small kitchen, morning light slipping through the curtains, catching a few loose strands of her hair. The coffee smell lingered. "Now what?" she asked, voice light, like an invitation. "Up to you," I said. "Whatever you're comfortable with." She laughed, a real laugh, light like the wind chimes. "I don't need fireworks, Ethan, just you being honest." She grabbed 2 coffee mugs from the counter, handed me one. We sat on the couch, her feet tucked up, wearing mismatched socks that looked ridiculous. We talked about her job, about the first time she saw me fixing my truck, shirtless in the driveway. She admitted to once pretending her faucet was leaking just to talk to me. I laughed, told her about the time I tried to make her laugh with a dumb joke about a washing machine. Time slipped by. No candles, no soundtrack, just 2 people finally being honest. When I got up to leave, it was almost noon. Sarah walked me to the door. "Thanks for not waiting another 2 years," she said, leaning against the frame, a playful smile. "Thanks for not slamming the door in my face," I shot back. She laughed hard. "You still owe me a better joke." I nodded. "I'll work on it." I walked home feeling lighter, not some movie-style high, just a sense that things were right, like I'd found a piece of myself I didn't know was missing. Things with Sarah felt easier after that. We texted more, not sappy stuff, just little things. She sent me a meme about a broken washing machine. I replied with a dumb quip about the rainy weather. Tuesday night, she invited me over for dinner, just simple spaghetti, eaten on the couch, plates on our laps, an old Seinfeld rerun on TV. She teased me for piling my plate like a spaghetti mountain. I told her garlic bread was so spicy it could wake the whole town. We laughed. Her foot brushed mine, and neither of us moved. Nothing cinematic, just comfortable, like we belonged in that moment. Wednesday was busy. I worked all day, fixing a pile of broken appliances. Sarah didn't text, probably stuck in a long shift. Thursday, I asked if she wanted to grab coffee after work. She said she'd let me know, but no reply came. I waited until nearly 9, then let it go. Maybe she was tired, I thought, or just forgot. I didn't want to push. Friday afternoon, I was driving home after work. As I turned onto our street, I saw a black SUV parked at Sarah's. Sleek, new, not like anyone's around here. I parked at my place, but my eyes stayed on the SUV. Then I saw them, Sarah and some guy walking out her front door. He was tall, good-looking, in a crisp button-up. Sarah held a stack of papers, nodding as he talked. Then he hugged her, not a quick, polite hug, a real one like they'd been close once. I sat in my truck, gripping the wheel without realizing it. Sarah waved as he got in his car, then went inside, didn't bother taking off my boots, and sank onto the couch, staring at the blank TV. I knew I had no right to be jealous. We hadn't labeled anything, no kisses, no promises. But the feeling was there, like a rock in my chest. I wondered if I'd misread everything. Was she just a friend? Had I imagined something that wasn't there? I didn't text her that night, didn't walk by her place the next morning. I tried to avoid it, like I did after the porch moment. But this time, it felt heavier. By Saturday afternoon, I was tired of myself. I was in the kitchen washing a mug when there was a knock. I opened the door without checking the peephole. It was Sarah, still in her scrubs, holding the papers from yesterday. Her eyes like she knew what I was thinking. "Hey," she said. I stepped aside. "Come in." But she didn't, just stood there. "Can we talk?" she asked. I nodded. "Yeah." She stepped inside, stood by the window, still clutching the papers. "You didn't text back," she said. "Neither did you," I said, sharper than I meant. She sighed. "I was swamped. A nurse called out, so I pulled a double shift. Then my ex-husband stopped by." I looked at her. "That was him," I said. She nodded. "He needed me to sign some old paperwork, stuff about the house we bought when we were married. That's it." Silence. I didn't know what to say. She stepped closer. "Ethan, there's nothing between me and him. It's been over for 3 years. I'm not going back." I nodded, but didn't meet her eyes. "I know," I said quietly. "I don't think you do," she said. "You haven't looked at me since I walked in." I looked up. Her eyes were honest, but there was a hint of hurt. "I saw the car," I admitted. "Saw the hug. I didn't want to assume anything. But I did." Her voice softened. "I get it. Really. But I need you to talk to me, not guess." I took a breath. I'm not good at this. I tend to mess things up before they even start. But I don't want to lose you. She set the papers on the counter, stepped closer. "Then don't." We stood there, the air lighter. "Are we good?" I asked. She looked right at me. "We're good, if you stop hiding every time something feels off." I nodded. "I'll try." She smiled. "Good, because I don't want to start something and fix it alone." She hugged me, brief but warm. "Next time, just ask," she said. "It's easier than guessing." Then she left, leaving the papers on the counter. Just paperwork. Nothing more. Sunday morning, the air was damp, the kind that sticks your shirt to your skin. I got up at 8, made coffee, sat by the window with the blinds half open. I hadn't heard from Sarah since yesterday, after she left my place, but this time it didn't feel heavy. It felt like she'd left a door open, and it was up to me to walk through. I went to the garage, dug through an old box. Tools, wires, parts from forgotten jobs. At the bottom was a small tin, dusty. I opened it. Some screws, a broken watch, and a cheap silver ring I'd bought at a pawn shop when I was 21, thinking I knew what love was. I held the ring, thought about what it used to mean, then put it back. Not what I needed today. Instead, I grabbed a pack of small brass hooks, the kind for fixing cabinet doors or hanging wind chimes. I slipped them in my pocket, grabbed 2 coffees from the diner, 1 hazelnut, 1 sugar, Sarah's favorite, and walked to her house. Sarah was on her porch, hair up, barefoot, scrolling on her phone. She looked up as I hit the steps. "Hey," she said, a small smile. "Hey," I said, handing her the coffee. "Hazelnut, 1 sugar." She grinned wider. "You remembered." I sat next to her, careful not to spill. We sat quietly for a bit, sipping, listening to the quiet street. A dog barked in the distance. A lawnmower hummed. A kid pedaled by on a bike. Then I cleared my throat. "I've been thinking about what you said, about not wanting to fix things alone." She nodded, not interrupting. "I thought about how fast time goes, how easy it is to convince yourself some things, some people don't matter, but you matter, to me." She looked at me, eyes calm but warm. "I'm not a big gestures guy," I went on. "I'm not good with fancy words, but I know how I feel, and I don't want to lose you." I pulled the pack of hooks from my pocket, placed it in her hand. "For the cabinet under your sink, the one that keeps popping open." She laughed, a light, real laugh. "You're such a dork." "Maybe," I said, shrugging. "But I'm here. I'm trying." She turned the hooks over in her hand. "You're not just trying, Ethan. You're showing up. That's more than most people do." I looked at my coffee, then at her. "I'm not joking this time," I said. She nodded. It felt like standing in something real. She leaned a little closer. "So, what are we doing?" I took a breath. "We're doing this, if you want." "I want," she said. Simple as that. No ring, no kneeling, no movie drama. Just two people, being honest, standing in the right place. She took my hand, fingers lacing together. "Now you're stuck with that cabinet," she teased. "No escaping." I laughed. "I'm not planning to." We sat a while longer, talking about dinner plans, grocery runs, whether it was too late to start a garden. Small things. But they felt like everything. Ethan and Sarah's story isn't about fireworks or heart-stopping moments. It's about honesty, about showing up, even when you're scared. Sometimes love doesn't need big vows or spotlights. It just needs two people willing to take a step, even a small one, to be real with each other. This is The Cheater's Diary, where we share stories about everyday moments, where courage and honesty change everything. Have you ever had a moment like that? A time you wanted to say something, but fear held you back? Or a time you pushed past it and everything shifted? Share your story in the comments. We read everyone, and who knows, yours might inspire someone to speak their truth. If you like this story, hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss what's next. Every like, every comment helps us bring you more stories. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next story on The Cheater's Diary.